What is up, generals? We are back with Ultimate General Civil War, and we're taking a look at the J&P Rebalance Mod Confederate Major General Let's Play, and we're continuing where we left off at after the second day of Chancellorsville. We're heading into the skirmish at Salem Church. So let's go ahead and jump right back in. And you'll remember we did not have a chance to go to the camp screen. And so what I did is I just dropped us in there. Nope, let's not use him. I think we're using Lee. Yeah, I think we're using Lee. Yeah, we're using Lee. So we just dropped someone in there because I needed to get to the point where I could save the game and then log out. And then, get back in there. So Sedgwick's Corps is attacking along this road, and I think that this is happening either concurrently with what's happening at Chancellorsville or very nearly before or after. Looks like it's happening concurrently. So we must stop them from taking this here flag. For Virginia. So, I've seen this battle kind of fought a couple of different ways. My inclination was always to take this terrain right here just because it's really great defensive terrain, specifically because they're crossing a creek and they got to come uphill, etc. And I think that was the case more or less when you shot at 300 yards from Mya, you would end up right about here, give or take. And so they need to come out of the woods a wee bit to come at you. Now, interestingly, when you're standing right here, you're actually shooting at them in the woods, or even if you back up a bit, but then you're backing out of the good cover. So we're going to try and take a slightly different tack than I have in the past with this battle, and we're going to try coming up here and just kind of holding along here. So why am I doing that? Why does that work? And essentially what it does is it does two things that I like. Is it keeps my forces concentrated in one area so I can really utilize internal lines, and if I need to fall back from somewhere in the front, I can have a reserve ready to go. When you do the defensive position where you're positioned here and then positioned here, you kind of have too many divisions operating together, and that's not ideal. And the other thing is the flag is right out here in the open, so it's kind of like negative defense. I don't need to actually be on the flag. I just need to make it so that they can't stay on the flag. So that's kind of the hope anyway. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we gotta turn that way down, or I'm gonna overwhelm you guys with too much noise. All right, so what do we have? I don't. It's been too long, unfortunately. Let's take a look at the artillery first. So we've got Napoleons, Parrots, and Blakely's. All right, great. That's fantastic. So the Union gets a pretty healthy amount of artillery in this battle, and they come down the road here. So we're gonna probably engage them here, which means we need to have our counter battery in a place where they can kind of be useful when the counter artillery gets in, but we don't want them like right in the front of things. And unfortunately, we can't get away with putting them back here. They're not going to be able to reach out and do anything from that distance. So let's stick the Blakes and the Parrots right around there. You take the distance the Parrot's shooting now, let's say from basically here to the woods. You try and find a similar distance, and that's kind of why I'm putting them here, because they're going to be able to reach to about here, which is where I expect them to put their artillery. But the Napoleons are going to need to go right about there, I'd say. We're going to want them to really be kind of just putting the hurt on things over here. But between you and me, I expect us to be in combat in this general area. So there's actually a thought process where I put them up here or maybe back here somewhere. I don't really know. But I'm really more worried about with the Napoleons is just making sure that whatever they try and do vis-a-vis this flag is just an awful mess for them. Now, what we're going to also do with 2nd Light Infantry is we're going to push them way up to the north of the map because their artillery and their stuff, their supply wagons and whatnot are going to come along this road. My hope is that I'll be able to worm 2nd Tennessee in behind in behind stuff and start either stealing supply wagons or, you know, maybe even if I get lucky, meleeing artillery. So the entire corps or division here is 2-star. So it doesn't really matter too much kind of who I put where. But we're going to take some precaution to put the really hard to replace Enfield rifles in the place that I think is going to take the least casualties. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of refuse our flank a bit. Let's put one more back there. So we're going to have 3. Actually, let's just do 1st Division, right? So that's them. Let's just put all of 1st Division right there. And then we'll kind of go along here. So 2nd Division, they're going to be predominantly fighting there, really just kind of denying them that terrain. And then we're going to have 3rd Division and probably 4th Division doing the lion's share of the fighting. And then if I need to, what I will do is rotate them over the course of the battle. So once everything's in position, we've got a minute. As you can see, we've got a minute before anybody rolls up. And this is actually going to be somewhat heretical, considering what I usually tell you to do with your units. But I want to get everybody in place. And this is a battle where if I do it right, we're not really going to need to move too terribly much. I have a thought with regard to, who are you? 23rd Mississippi. So the last part, 5th Florida. So normally they're going to be deployed right here supporting 1st Virginia and 3rd Texas. I have a thought to take 5th Florida and refuse my flank, put them down here, and then, you know, do that work, because the Union has some troops that approach down here, and a natural angle of attack for them is nominally, I suppose, straight towards that flag, but it wouldn't be out of the question for them to try and push up here. But I don't really want to extend my line too much. 12 units it's surprisingly few on this battlefield, and I think maybe I can get away with pulling a couple of troops off of this line. Once they get up there, I will see whether or not concentrating is actually the smart thing to do or not. But there's not any good cover or attacking terrain for the enemy here. So that we got that going for us. From this position, there should be nowhere they can shoot me safely unless they wrap me and come out in this direction. And that's why I'm thinking about pushing 5th Florida either here to sort of spoil against that attack, or even theoretically here to spoil against an attack that might come northward against my position there. Now we're going to go ahead and deploy some skirmishers as well. They're mostly here at a spot, and that's really pretty much it. You guys have almost certainly noticed that skirmishers are basically useless for anything but spotting, and maybe like light frontage. And that's by design. All right. So the enemy's approaching. We're going to go ahead and have everyone start to just, schlep it out normally. They're all hovering in 75, give or take. Yeah, so I don't want to get them too much more tired than that. This is in the Rebel. They punish having tired soldiers pretty heavily. So you can get away with it a bit in the vanilla game. The punishment for being tired isn't quite as heavy, but here I really counsel against it. You'll notice that some of these units are not super large. So typically my artillery batteries have been around 300 men, which translates to, they've been around 200 men, which translates to 8 guns. So 17th is actually half as large as usual, and 5th Artillery is half again bigger than usual. So this may catch me in, this strategy here may bite me in the butt, in that they might be able to just walk up, take the flag, and then force me to come to them. But as long as I can keep that flag contested or trip it every now and again, it should be fine. And the big worry on my end is de-artillerying them as much as possible. What are you doing? Why are you just sitting around? Get moving. More of their guys are coming online. It's an interesting battle. Interesting battle because you don't really have a chance to get in position, and there's really, this spot around this flag is pretty much the only terrain that matters from an objective standpoint. But really, the whole map is quite important. All right, so they have most of their troops online now, and we are outnumbered pretty significantly. They have quite a few more guns than we do. This is why I'm working on bringing such a significant counter battery contingent. I'm going to split off those guys from 5th, and we're going to go ahead and watch our extreme left. Actually, this is the Confederates, our extreme right. And then we've also got 2nd Tennessee trying to get some eyes on what's coming our way, basically. And I'm going to see if I can't actually get all the way up here before Brown's brigade gets past my position. Because as you can see, I'm still very much getting into position for my men. And let's also break off one more unit of skirmishers. Who's going to stop right around here? Looks like 23rd. All right. Let's break off a unit of skirms and put them in the church or the farm near the church. We need to get eyes on this spot in the road, because I'm noticing now that we might not have great line of sight to. They might be able to walk right up to the objective, and we might not be able to shoot them from here. It's going to be right on the nose, I think, on whether or not our guys can get into position to check Brown's advance. There's Brown, Bartlett. All right, so we're looking at 2 stars. We're looking at 20, let's call it an average at 23 hundo, give or take, which is about right for the scaling at Major General. And for my artillery, they're double, even my biggest. Not quite, but basically. Because with 100, 200, and 300, I guess that means that the average battery size is 200. So they're almost 3 times my average. Wow, that's oof. It's a big one. Okay, so we are going to actually get into position, it would appear. What are you doing, Harris? Because I might need to pull out. If that's stopping to shoot back there, that strikes me as being probably 20-pound parrots. What does it even see? You guys are still tired. That makes sense, though. They've been marching the whole time. Okay, so we need to get someone somewhere where they can shoot at Thompson. It'll, if Harris continues on directly towards the objective, which I'm hoping he does, we'll be able to worm 2nd Tennessee behind. unless they leave their artillery undefended, it would appear to me that a melee charge on Tompkins, is ill-advised. All right, so Brown is also coming in. So we're staking our ability to defend this flag essentially on their inability to stand for long periods of time on this point. They'll be able to take this point. This is the worry I have with this strategy in this fight. They'll be able to take this point. I think, the dream is that you hold this island. The worry, now that we're in the rebalance and they're so aggressive, is that I don't know if I can keep them in a standoff in this terrain. If I get right up on the edge of the woods, which is not terribly dissimilar in terms of raw coverage, I'm still not able to reach the flag, obviously, but the artillery eventually will. Okay, so at the moment, Tompkins appears to be largely undefended. Now we're starting to get to the point where our guys are going to be able to shoot their dudes in advantageous terrain. They are intelligently leading their attack with skirmishers, which, obviously less than a fan. A whole nother. Yeah, that's right. The numbers here are very much not in my favor, and my artillery still isn't really in position. This should go well, though. There are only 2-star skirmishers, thank goodness. Hopefully they don't have scope Whitworth or something. And they don't appear to have the perk that gives them extra... you guys might actually have the perk that I'm talking about. They don't. Yeah, they do, actually. Minus 15%. They don't have that one. The light infantry perk. Maneuver proficiency. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, much more reasonably sized. Harm and McCarthy are going to be very easy, compared to Tompkins anyway, to pick off. I think the Blake battery might actually be getting on near in position. Okay, so the big experiment is, can they trip the flag without being shot at? We're not going to have good luck, it looks like, in terms of spotting their stuff. So let's get one more. I want one more set of eyes down here. And they also appear as if they're kind of getting ready for they're fixing for a charge, I think. Okay, cool. The Blakes can shoot the artillery from here, which is great. Let's pick on, they can't, they gotta move. Okay, let's pick on McCarthy. Let's utilize as much as possible the splash damage of that artillery and the fact that I'm probably going to be able to get 2nd Tennessee in position to start picking at Harn with an N. Yeah, Harn with an N. So the other worry is that there's going to be the skirmishers and, let's say, 4,500 men attacking along a fairly narrow frontage. And then you've got 5,000-ish more men attacking in that same general corridor. Now, the benefit of kind of that dual strategy of having troops up here and then having the majority of your line down here is that the enemy attacks kind of here, and then another group comes in down this way. And they take a wider frontage in their attack. All right, so if I'm going to be eating artillery this whole battle, that's really going to be unfortunate. Once the counter battery stuff's online, it should be less bad. Now, what's the 1,500 versus 1,400? So they're gonna have largely comparable range, I would say. Now, one thing I can do, I think, that's far more beneficial than killing the artillery, although obviously that's you know, a huge boon to the army if I can pull that off, is nabbing that supply wagon. If there's more than one, so much the better. All right, let's shoo them off with guns, and then fall back as needed. Yeah, that's really, really unfortunate. But yeah, so the hope is if we can nab the supply wagons, they won't be able to make good on their artillery, and they'll kind of have to, ideally, well, they'll be shooting at, you know, a low ammo state. Okay, so this is one of the risks of this battle strategy, is that, yeah. Okay, so they do have troops coming this way. Good to know. And they can just walk up to it and hang out. With skirmishers on the objective. Okay. So here's the worry, here's the risk, here's the problem. We're presenting as the most immediate threat to the Union as these 2 or 3 brigades up here. And we're not positively controlling the flag. And they have troops in the island. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is not a viable strategy. So we got to do this the more traditional route. That's fine. Okay, so who holds north and who holds down? Let's 2 divisions down, 1 division up. We need our best troops probably. No, they're going to get chewed to fucking back. We want our Enfield guys here. So it's 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Call it a day. Let's just get everyone on the road so that they're not running through the woods like crazy. All right. Lee can go probably about there. His aura should do the trick. Yeah, artillery or the supply wagon I don't really care about. Napoleon's. Let's get you just moving forward, and I'll figure you guys out when the time comes. All right, so I'm actually less worried about these guys walking in the woods, to be completely honest. Where do I want them? I mean, the infantry will figure it out as far as the woods are concerned, but really you two, just get moving, and we'll start drawing orders when everybody's going forward. All right, so the plan with... Did that work? The plan with the skirmishers is more or less the same. Yeah, that's fine. What cannons do I want where? I think the Napoleons have to go, like, probably here. No, they gotta go here. 20 parrots for sure don't want to go through woods because they're heavy guns. Let's put them there if they can make it. Same for the Blakes. Okay. Yeah, let's see how that works. We know we have time now, so we're a little less worried. Some of this stuff I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave it in the episode. The first attempt, you can kind of see some of the experimentation that goes on. Bob's kind of a fan of seeing the process in action in terms of figuring things out. And not for nothing, I'm far from infallible, so it's nice to see all of that too. Okay. Let me see. They're mostly here, yeah, for the most part, and we have eyes on thanks to the skirms. Thank you very much. Keep doing what you're doing. I want you all the way back here. We're gonna basically do the same thing with you and see if we can't poach that supply wagon. That seemed to work conceptually anyway pretty well at the first attempt, and if we can starve the artillery before too long, that will be very nice. All right, I still got to figure out what division I want to put where. So Enfields, they're almost certainly going to be in melee before this is over. There's not really anything to strongly distinguish one way or the other for whether I should put someone in. Oh, no. Okay, so in that case, I think 1st Division should be here. All right. Because they both have Enfields, and if they're going to be for sure in melee, let's put the... It's going to intermix the divisions a wee bit, but I'm putting the 2 units with Lorenz's down here. The Lorenz is a fantastic gun at max range, but it's not really much of a melee weapon. And then this is what, 3rd Division? Perfect. So we'll put the same shtick. Yeah. The Springfield 61 is not exactly a melee powerhouse, but it gets the job done. All right. Let's make sure I've given orders to everybody. Yeah. Okay. I don't know where I want to put the Napoleons, to be completely frank. The dream would be to have them right here so they can just canister the entire way, but that's just a freaking mistake because they're going to be in hand-to-hand. Well, yeah, that's good. 2 trees is fine for them. Does the aura reach? Sort of. I mean, Lee can just be wherever Lee wants to be. It doesn't matter too much. Actually, no. I think having someone... Ooh. Yeah, having someone, drag them right here where I can get a crossfire going might be nice. Versus just kind of letting them do whatever they want to do. Oh, Tompkins is smaller all of a sudden. This must be a factor of the variance mod. I much prefer him being almost 70 some odd men smaller. Yeah, sounds great. Oh, shit. Ooh, crap. Hide. No guns. They have the stealth? They don't. Oh, they do. Okay, thank goodness. Oof. Okay, that was nerve-wracking. Okay. Oh, shit. No, they're on. Okay. Do not. Just keep going. Stay in the woods. Get me eyes on as much of this nonsense as you can see. All right, y'all need to hurry up because this shit's going to start getting interesting here in a second. Okay, so using the open terrain was much better, which is not really a gigantic surprise for the purposes of getting the artillery into position on time. A little more tedious, obviously, to click around like that, but... All right, hey, check out this sexy supply wagon, guys. Do we dare? We dare. And there's almost certainly, skirmishers defending it or something, but downhill in the river, oh yeah, we dare. The fewer guns we can deal with, the better. Okay, so they're really doing a lot of good work right now. They're not shooting anybody. I get that. But look at how much I can see. This tells me how much time I have, whether I need to run something, whether I need to, worry about getting into position or any of that nonsense. It's just a really cool function. This is why I think recon and information is just working together or information is overpowered is the joke I make. Alright, so if they're shooting you, you can shoot them too. It's a crazy idea. Alright, nice. We're gonna double down on this. We're gonna knock a battery out if we can. Look at the supply wagon. It's right out in the open. Come get it. Okay, maybe don't get it so much though. Alright, I think unfortunately that's all she wrote for... I mean, we knocked off, what, 100 guys? So that's probably, what, 3 to 4 guns? I can't really complain too much. Ooh, 2 skirmishers. Interesting. It's very interesting how much time they're taking. Ooh, that's a real risk. They might just kill my supplies. Alright, well, I guess I can't do that any longer. We've already wounded a colonel. That's always a good time. Yeah, that's a real concern. They might just forget capturing it. They might just nuke it. Okay, yeah. You know what? Good on you, skirmishers. You taught me to be quite so cocky. I guess that's on me. Yeah, the parrots are just auto-targeting the artillery. Can I scoot them a bit forward and knock out Peyton? Or Paster? I think I'd like to do that. There's Harn again. There's another... So 4 batteries. Okay, to my 3, which is not the end of the world. What is all this interesting stuff going on? Oh, nice. You didn't even need to move that much. Cool. So we're probably not going to knock them out anytime soon, but that's 1 battery that's, you know, less effective than it could be otherwise. Ooh, shit, they can see the Napoleons. Well, Napoleons are basically free. Okay, well then we really need to knock out Paster. Because Tompkins isn't in a position to shoot the Napoleons. Harn is too far back, as is McCarthy, so we can't quite... That's a lot of movement for the Blakes, unfortunately. I mean, after all that, that's just, what, 13, 14? Yes, 13. Okay. That's obviously not preferred, but I can stand it. So what we're hoping for now, then, is to just kind of scare them off the idea of charging, which I reckon we're not going to be able to do forever. Let's get the 23rd off of 5th's butt, then. Oh, I have these guys. Just mid-range. Okay, so they're just really good for canister, and we're probably not going to spend a great deal of this battle in canister range with these guys, unfortunately. This is awesome for me. This is not great for the purposes of 2nd Tennessee, but it's great for the purposes of the battle generally. Alright, so now we're getting into, like, watch out territory. I gotta be very careful. Paster's getting whittled down. Someone's charging. Is it what? Grant? Looks like Grant. And we just shot the artillery, I think, didn't we? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. The Blake and the 21st will probably prevent Harris from meaningfully trying to charge. The Parrots are doing what they need to be doing. That's probably the most vital target for the Parrots right now. They'll reload fairly quick, right? I mean, quick enough. Sure. All right. Oh, it looks like Bartlett is charging as well. Okay, well, let's just scare one off, and then we'll just if only one of them manages to come in, successfully charge, that's enough. Yeah, I think you gotta shoot at Grant, and if you can do it, yeah, that's fine. Everybody shoot at Grant, and then if Bartlett's the only one that makes contact, I'm a lot less worried about things, although Harris is looking like he may not give a shit about being flanked. That's all, Okay, that's helpful. I think the Blakes are shooting at Harris as well. Let's see if we can't get 8th Arizona in on the dog pile. Yeah, I mean, one of them's going to make it. That's fine. I want to pour as much fire as I can into the sort of supporting troops. And then we've got 23rd in reserve for basically exactly this occurrence. I'm not super worried. I'm obviously not mega excited. This is always the most dangerous part of these battles, is the opener, when the enemy's at the most ready for this kind of thing. Hopefully all this flank fire drains his morale. Yeah, there you go. Good. Okay. And then now they're in the sweet spot for the Napoleons to really just go nuts. Yeah, they've got 2 different plus 25% canister damage perks going on right now, which is fantastic. Yeah, to be honest, I'm actually feeling okay about, and it doesn't look like I should be, but I'm actually feeling okay about all this. Harris is gone now. Yeah, there's that. I'm not terribly worried about Grant anymore. Now I want to put fire into Bartlett. We'll move forward. These guys are all... He's fine. That's fine. And Lee's far enough. Yeah, they're all in the aura. That's okay. Actually, I also don't want to canister into that melee because it would have... what's the word I'm looking for here? Like friendly fire. Yep. Not worried about Grant. Let's put fire into Bartlett and see if we can't send this off. Now, it's really only a matter of time before they're able to put together a more coherent charge. And we really do need to have you guys... We really got to get these skirmishers out of here. This is a fantastic force that the Union's got here. Pretty healthy chunk of skirmishers. Really causes a lot of problems. Canister's doing good work on Bartlett. Yeah. Okay, he also doesn't want to really deal with that. That's great. First Virginia's not having a wonderful day at the moment. I get that. Maybe he routes the wrong direction and we get to milk some kills out of the deal. That's even better. Okay, so I don't understand. These 2 brigades could really make a big difference for the Union right now. Without them, I feel infinitely more confident. Let's put it that way. Okay, we still got Neil. Why are you... No, stay in your woods. You're fine there. I want you in cover. Engage on the most optimal terms you can manage. Okay, everyone's doing okay here. My flank is probably safe enough that I can provide some supporting fire. How are the Blakes doing? Don't shoot that. That's useless. Shoot Harris. Get some kind of splash damage on the skirmishers. Maximize utility per trigger pull. Yeah, we're going to scare Bartlett out of here. I actually don't want to. Let's keep Grant running. We're barely in canister range. Maybe it'll get a canister round off. Sorry for all the pausing. When I'm doing post-op. Okay, great. Awesome. We got Brown coming in. Put lots of rounds into Brown now. He's the new target of the hour. You got some melee, it looks like. All right, nice. All right, 5th. Watch your corridor. Neil's going to try some shit. I think the Parrots are probably not able to shoot Paster anymore. So let's get them moving again. Yeah, I don't know what to make of these two brigades. They would make a huge difference to the Union right now. Like I barely have enough resources to hold things at the moment, and I think 2 more brigades could really push this in their direction. That is a brutal round of fire on Brown. I'm surprised he's still coming. Okay. Let's sort of reset. There's no way they can be confident in a charge anymore at this point. All right, hey, really touch and go there at the opener, but looking a lot more bearable. It's still going to be kind of a meat grinder, I think. We need to get much more, comfortable wiping some of these units out before I can confidently say that this isn't going to be extremely expensive. And I may want to think about rotating 1st Virginia out as well. Whenever I feel I can do that. But those Enfields have proven to be very useful in hand-to-hand. In the linear equivalent of CQC. I just don't like 2-star units eating artillery fire like that. But it's not like I have anybody else to eat the artillery fire, so it's them or no one, It's just who do I do it with? The only thing I think about now is that the Enfields are much harder to replace than the 61s are. So I might put 8th sort of in the barrel, so to speak. Yeah, I think I am gonna do that. They're just going to keep on trying this shit, see if they can't go wider and wider. Okay, so I think that the other brigades have finally figured out that they want to try and get in there. And if that's the case, we need to see what we can do with... Do I have eyes on their supply wagon? No, it's not going to... I can't get to it. All right. Let's start picking off artillery then. Okay. Now, this is like, you try having 3,000 men run through each other's formations and maintain any kind of coherency when you're done in the heat of battle with smoke and loud noise. I mean, shit, you do it on a perfect parade ground and shit still gets messed up, so... Yeah, ooh, that's a nice round of shooting from someone. But if they want to trade like this, I'll do this all day. All right, there's Pasters back in range of the 20-pound Parrots, which is good. Yeah, so if we've managed to successfully pull the wind out of their sails this early, I think that bodes very well for the overall course of the battle. There's going to be some ugly trading in this general vicinity for a while, but all of these trades are in my favor. It's not, you know, it's never a good time to be like, oh yeah, these are fine casualties to take, but all things considered, I could be doing a lot worse in terms of the kind of trades I'm eating than I am right now. These are very bearable. And the Napoleons are doing great work. They're doing fantastic work. Really, they're just there as a deterrent to try and disincentivize the charges. Just make sure that if they do ram that charge home, it's as expensive for them in the short term as possible. All right, can we get shots on? We can, and we don't even need to expose ourselves in the process. Nice. Yep, I don't think we're even going to need to leave the woods. Nah, that's great. That's fantastic. It's a really good round of shooting for those guys. It's nice. Let's get Paster out of here. This is going to keep on being expensive. Can we? We can't, really. One battery almost gone. We're getting some splash fire on a Tompkins, which is just great. Okay, yeah, it's going to be grueling and expensive for just everybody in this general region, but the rest of the army seems to be getting off pretty light. That's interesting. Just keep an eye on that, I guess. Rest of the army's getting off pretty light. So I guess my initial worry about taking this middle island of trees seems unfounded. It's an excellent piece of defensive terrain. I keep on losing officers too, which is just great. Alright, sooner or later I may need to push across the woods and make... Yeah, I think sooner I think I'm going to have to do it. Unless I can shoot them from the tree line. If I can shoot Tompkins from the tree line, I'm a lot more excited about that than I am charging into melee. Let me see, they have... Oh, the Whitworth is an okay hand-to-hand weapon as well. Alright, good. Yeah, we need to be out in the open to do this. That's fine. And if that's the case, let's just get in there and do this the right way. Okay. That's dangerous. And they know we're here now. Okay. There's a brigade I can't see. So one of them is likely in here somewhere. I'd feel a lot better about this if I had a second unit coming in with me. A second unit of Grenzers. These aren't Grenzers, but they're currently being utilized in a pseudo-Grenzer role. We just need to prevent them from getting canister off on me. Yep, or that. There it is. We just need to prevent them from getting canister off on me, and then the AI immediately proceeds to get canister off on me. Yeah, okay, well, that's all right. It's what I get for charging over the open and not taking a kind of careful approach. Okay. I'm feeling okay about that. They've been degraded pretty heavily at this point. Yeah, they're fine. I don't know if I need the charge bonus from... But what I do need to do is I need to get in both units. Oh, you know what? No. No. We're getting shot at from the flank. Yep, they're gone. We're getting canistered from another unit. Okay, I didn't realize McCarthy was going to be able to get around to me like that. That's unfortunate. I think unfortunate's a bit of an understatement in that regard, but, you know, less than ideal. These guys are getting whittled down to the point that they're going to start being combat ineffective here in a little bit. Yeah, and this is why I wasn't worried about Shaler. He's taken enough damage that, you know, at this point, musket fire is probably enough to really scare him off. All right, let's get 2nd Tennessee out of there. We've, if nothing else, tied up 2 artillery units, maybe 3 for a little bit. That's really a shitty trade for 70 2-star skirmishers, and probably more like 100 2-star skirmishers when this is all said and done. But that having all been said, they're down 100 guys. They're combat ineffective at this point. Paster is out of range. The Blake is still trying to shoot it. Okay, yeah, that's crap, but it is what it is. All right, so what I'm going to do with them, I'm going to start working them around this way and see if I can't come in maybe this way or this way. They'll have enough time just organically running to where all the places I need them to be. They'll have enough time to work out kind of their morale situation in that process. All right, 8th, let's get you back out of there. That's, oof. I think we're causing more damage than they are. Oh, it's just it's the 2nd unit made contact. All right, that's fine. Their units have been degraded pretty heavily. All right, 8th, take a step back. You have done really great work. First, get back in there and relieve them. And unfortunately, that's all. I think we're just going to have to keep on doing that. Unless... Can I detach skirmishers? No, I guess not. We're too close still. Okay, so I'm going to see if there's stuff over here. I might start working on trying to turn some flanks if there isn't. Otherwise, though, I think that this attack's been pretty successfully defanged. I mean, some of these units are paying pretty hard for it, as you can see. Actually, I might do this. Start rotating fresh units into the grinder and beaten units onto the flanks where it's a lot less exciting. This is one of the places where I think you don't want to be. You don't want to be where it's exciting. And while that's all going down, I feel comfortable enough in this state of the battle to finally start talking or thinking about things besides what's going on in the battle. Hey guys, it's the end of March, and you know things are still. Or no, is it April? It's April. It's the end of April, and things are still weird. Things are still. Everyone's still in lockdown. It's starting to, you know, think about coming back to some semblance of normal, but. Still a weird time. Everything's still kind of figuring out what exactly the new normal ends up meaning, and they're not really sure if they're ever gonna get back to, you know, the way it was before. Because, like, sure, state governments can say y'all can go back to work and y'all can go back to concerts and venues and whatever, but this has been going on for a while now, and like. Do we think people are going to be comfortable overnight just being like, okay, time to go to the baseball game, time to go to, you know, concerts where I'm, you know, like nut to butt with random people I don't know in a concert in a sweaty environment where we're going to rub up against each other and get sweaty and all of that. You know, I wonder, is that, I don't think you can just flip a switch and have that all go back to the way it was overnight. That's kind of where I'm thinking. Like, okay, we can talk about reopening businesses and all of that, but what's that going to look like? How quickly is that really expected to happen? In what fashion? How many of us, need to go back to work ASAP? I for one, don't really miss. I miss the people in the office and the camaraderie and whatnot, but I sure as heck don't miss an office. I'm just as effective over Zoom or Skype or Team as I ever was face to face, and my commute is literally seconds. That kind of thing. All right, let's go ahead and put 5th in place of 1st, because 1st has taken quite the beating. They have done phenomenally, though. They have really done a great job. Everybody in 1st Division, these troops in the island down here have done just simply excellent. Let's take the more cautious approach. But it is time to allow them a reprieve from all of this nonsense. And the same, let's take you down here and you up there. We probably don't need the same shoulder-to-shoulder density anymore up here either. So, back to my point about, real life. How are you? Let me know in, comments what you've been up to, what you've been doing. Have you you've been busy with school or work? Have you found a new hobby? What have you done to keep yourself, sane in all the fun? And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Just hope you're doing okay. Obviously, I hope everyone's still feeling healthy and you've had access to food and some kind of income to keep yourself under a roof. Your families are all feeling okay. One of the upshots of the whole situation is it's kind of lifted the lid off of some infrastructural inadequacies in the system. And I'm not here talking about free rent strike or anything to that effect. The economy doesn't work that way. But the business student in me is very interested in how quickly all these organizations that have had a decade plus of record-shattering profit were unable to draw on any kind of reserve or capital or asset to, make it through not even a week, 2 weeks. It'd be fine if it was a month. It'd be fine if it was 3 weeks or whatever, and they were like, hey, so, no budget plan in the universe has any kind of idea what to do in this kind of an instance. Can you give us a hand of some kind? And even the staunchest person who's not really a fan of big business would have to kind of say, yeah, that makes sense. But a week, it's interesting. It's that's all. What do small businesses do? What a small, that's my concern is I'm not gonna go full Marxist and be all, what about the workers? They got some help. I don't know if it was enough. I don't know if it was too much. Some countries, maybe they reacted too hard. Some countries reacted just right. Who knows? But the voices I'm not hearing got anything close to the kind of help they might have needed in this situation is small businesses. And I'm worried for several of my friends who run small businesses. Anybody I know in the service sector, consulting, IT, finance, etc. They're fine. All my accountant friends, all my financial analyst comrades, they're totally okay. And that's partially because of the work or the line of work that they chose to pursue. Is that it insulates them against some of the precarities of an economy suddenly just completely shutting down. Because parts of this economy keep going. Like, aside from not going outside and not having to deal with traffic and not going downtown, candidly, I wasn't really meaningfully affected. Now all my meetings are teleconferences, which half the time they were anyway, because half the time we're teleconferencing with folks in a different country or continent. So, I'm fine. But 10 years ago, I was a bartender, and that was the beginning and the end of my income. In the short term, I don't think I would have been as fine. I would have had to find some way to manage. Now, that being said, looking at my colleagues who were in their 50s and 60s and they were still bartenders, that was all the evidence I needed to start going down it, trying to pursue a different path. Nothing against professional bartenders, but the people that I was working with at that particular time, they didn't have much of a plan for what happens when you stop working, what happens when you get old, what happens if you get hurt, what happens when, do you want to do this until you just croak? Like, I don't. I want to hit a certain juncture where I've got enough passive income and enough separate investments or whatever that I can slow. I'll probably never truly stop. I'd get bored. My dad has retired for the fourth and, as far as I can tell, final time, and he's still checking in with the office. He's still seeing if he can help out in little ways here and there, consulting, I guess he calls it. And the first 3 times he retired, I was like, okay, Dad's, he's of an age where retirement makes sense. I'll just put it that way. And I was like, oh, sounds good. He's going to go live the good life or do the thing. And he just never did. And I kept on being like, I think he just gets bored. And legitimately, I would get bored too. And the delay in the videos from my usual weekly schedule is because I'm dealing with just an absolute truckload of work at work, while at the same time heading into finals at grad school. So this week I've written 2 larger term papers already, and I'm preparing a robot, software robot, 2 of them actually, for another one of my classes, to give you an indication. And I've been, jumping through all kinds of scheduling hoops to make it all fit in terms of my schedule. But, good days and bad. Oh, Jesus, this canister has just really kicked my ass. Thank goodness for the woods and the cover perk and everything else. I don't know if they'd be nearly as well off after taking 3 separate batteries of canister at point blank range if they weren't for all the cover perks. Now, that having been said, all this running has left them tuckered out. I maybe need to get them out of there. Yeah, okay. So I think in the future, 2 Grenzers all the time. 1 is not enough by itself. You can usually knock out artillery pretty quickly. Like, artillery is never good at melee, but it looks like even 1 Grenzer isn't enough, and especially now that they're exhausted. I actually fear for the health of the unit. Oh, and I never sent those skirmishers out to go figure out if I can start turning the flank and pushing. I reckon I can. So I went off on a tangent there, as I suppose I tend to do. Anyway, one of the really nice non-financial portions of the whole situation is, at least in my family, we've all taken a good time to call each other and just say, hey, what's up? We're checking on each other. My sister and I trade all kinds of dumb photos of our cats being stupid. And that kind of stuff. We're sometimes, if we let ourselves be, we're sometimes a I'll see you at Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter kind of family, and that's it. And we talk, we keep in contact, we email and everything, but we're not like best buddies that hang out. And it's been enjoyable to have that dumb cat thing with her. So I hope that there's been the opportunity for those of you that still have or are in contact with some form of your family. If you wanted to get in contact with them, you've had the opportunity to do it, especially over Skype or Zoom or FaceTime or iMessage or all the thousands of ways we have to contact each other. Even if there's the distance involved. A couple weeks back was my girlfriend's grandmother's birthday, and up until that point, she'd been handling all the sequestration or the quarantine more or less okay. No major. She just thought it was just kind of annoying, but is what it was, that kind of thing. All right, so I'm feeling pretty good that we can probably try and turn. Although we do need to be aware that there is still that brigade down here somewhere. So how much turning I actually want to do, I'm not really actually sure. So I've lost half this unit now from being stupid. Cool. Anyway, so it was her grandma's birthday. She didn't want to have us come in, which makes a lot of sense, right? We drove up to her driveway with this sort of gift basket and put it up there and sprayed it with an antibacterial disinfectant spray, wiped everything down, and then I took the wipe with me and everything. She came out and we talked and said happy birthday, etc., and that kind of thing. But it was a big deal that she couldn't go up there and give her grandma a hug. Like, she's pretty close to the grandma. And most of my family spread all the hell back. So we see each other twice a year, so it's a little different, and I acknowledge that. But she's used to seeing her every week. And she hadn't for a couple weeks. So this is the first time seeing a member of her family, face to face. And even this is over 12 feet away or so. So I reckon for a lot of folks, that'll be probably the big thing. It's when we can see our loved ones and we have any idea of how to kind of combat this disease. We can give each other a handshake or a high five or a hug or, whatever. Because something I don't think people are talking about with regard to going back to normal is that if we haven't figured out any kind of cure, which evidently we're on the edge of. All right, I don't want them shooting at just one unit. I want them to have to engage 2, and ideally 3. So if we don't figure out some kind of A, herd immunity mechanic, or B, a cure or a vaccine or a kind of treatment, etc., I mean, we're basically right back to square one. And you're seeing this a little bit in, at least at the time of this recording, you're seeing hints of it in Georgia and a couple of the European countries that have tried to go back to business. And there was a brief spike in Wuhan. And that's the problem, right? Like, spending our time at home is a great way to prevent, where'd the supply wagon go? Prevent it from getting, like, out of control right away. But it's done nothing with regard to our immune system to prepare us to fight this thing off. And I'm not a doctor, and I don't really know. I'm not an immunologist or anything like that. I don't have any of the appropriate kind of background, but I've been looking at the data. I am a data person. And Johns Hopkins has put out this fantastic data set. It's on Tableau's website. If you guys have ever heard of Tableau, it's kind of like a fancy version of Excel. Well, it's like a fancy version of pivot tables in Excel. And it just throws a graphic interface on top of the spreadsheet, and then has a number of sort of pre-programmed in macros that will generate various bar graphs and line charts and all that kind of stuff. It's just a sexy tool for making data presentable, because there are fewer things that reliably put an audience to sleep than pulling up an Excel spreadsheet and saying, well, if you look at these 9,000 rows of black and white data arrayed in rows and columns, yeah, man, I'm literally falling asleep just saying it. And the other part of it is that doesn't mean anything to anybody, right? Like you pull that kind of thing up and it's just sort of like cool. Doesn't mean anything to me. What is that supposed to say? So you need to stop. I need to stop clicking you. You're justifiably exhausted. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get you somewhere where you can see the artillery, and then I can let you just chill out for a bit, because I've been really dumb with them. All right, so we've got eyes on him. Anyway, I'll throw it in the comment, or not the comments, but I'll throw it in the doobly-doo below the video. But Johns Hopkins actually has a fantastic dashboard for all this COVID stuff, and they've really done a very nice job of allowing you to track kind of where it's at right now, where it's been, the trend up or down, etc. And I don't have any kind of answer for what going back to normal looks like. I'm simply raising the concern. And it's been raised. I'm nearly certain it's been raised. I don't doubt for a second that the people in charge of figuring out how and why and when we're going to try and roll things back, etc., are aware of this kind of thing. Especially, I'm in Ohio. I got a mad shout out to Mike DeWine, who's just really... It's some viewers, they're saying he's gone, you can say he's gone too hard on some of this stuff, but he's just taken no chances with, my health, right? And people say like, well, I should sacrifice myself for the economy, or people are willing to sacrifice themselves for the economy. I'm sure as hell not. Are you? Like, is it cool if my grandma's the one that sacrifices herself for the economy? Like, I understand the argument, the numeric argument, I understand that. I can break down the math. I get it. There's an argument that basically says, from a financial and economic perspective, and a GDP perspective, and a quality of life perspective, the cure is worse than the disease, and there's a certain break point, and whether we want to admit it or not, we can put a dollar value on life. I get it. And then DeWine and other governors have essentially said, like, regardless of whether or not that's true, our constituents seem to like it when we our constituents sure seem to like it when we don't take those things into consideration and just worry about whether or not they make it through this alive. Amazing. And what he's been doing has been aggressive. All right. So I need to come up with a plan to deal with the artillery, Brown, and then Neil. And Neil is the big kind of craw in my plan, because I don't have any real good way of approaching Neil or forcing him to do something he doesn't want to do. He's just going to hang out down there. Rest of this stuff, they'll reliably keep coming because they got to get to the objective. Alright, so the Parrot can now shoot. Probably the Blake too. Behold the power of recon. Yeah, that part's not ideal, but there's one battery down, another battery down. Oh, whoa, 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 they're not actually down, okay. Both of them are doing that, that's fine. I guess they'll be down before too long. Let's just shoot it from a lot of different sides. Where are they facing? Are they turning? As it looks like they're turning. I can't really see it that well. Which way are they turning, though? Are they turning towards... I don't know. As long as I can white shield them, I'm fine with it. There you go. You can do whatever you want now. Still not really sure what to do about Neil. Also, still not really sure what to do about reopening the economy. It needs to happen. It needs to happen sooner rather than later. But there's that sticky kind of question about, you know, when and how fast and etc. What, and I think most importantly, really more than anything else, is what safety valves or shock absorbers do you have in place if we discover we've pulled the trigger too early, or we discover that we're past the bump now and it's manageable, you know, especially what if we come out with a workable vaccine or a workable treatment plan, which earlier today the stock market lost its mind because there's evidently some loose indication that that may be the case, and that's enough, you know, for investors to just go nuts. It doesn't change anything, doesn't have anything to do to answer with, it's purely a maybe. Investors are still going nuts and buying everything they can buy their hands on. And it doesn't matter that roughly 30 million Americans haven't earned a dime in the last 3 months, but have still accrued bills. There's going to be months or longer where we're picking up the pieces from all of this. And it's not anybody's fault. It just happened. And we're all doing the best we can to figure it out. But depending on how banks interpret and handle the mortgage deferments in particular, that's going to be... Ooh. Man, I graduated my first grad program into the 2009 recession, and that was, as they say, as the kids say, not a good time. I don't know for sure if this is going to be that bad, but it... All right. So we got you boxed up pretty good at this point. I'll let the artillery keep working on you. I think that's probably sufficient. Don't shoot the supply wagon. Yeah, that's probably sufficient. That's equal to the task, I would imagine. Okay, how do we approach you? Because I do actually want to take you out. I could let the clock run down and, like, yeah, 2,000 guys is not the end of the world to leave on the table. Where? Oh, that's the supply wagon in brown. Yeah, sure. I think we just box them in. Anyway, months of debt has accrued, and no one's earned any income, and there's so many cars that are still manufactured that didn't sell that are just sitting on lots. What is that going to do? When and how does that particular glut get unplugged? Last week, the situation with oil got down to $1 a barrel, I think, because they just didn't have anywhere to put it. That's the thing. Like, we're still producing this stuff, but no one's able to buy it. It's not an issue of not wanting to buy it. Demand is there. It's demand plus ability, and the ability is absent. There's very interesting. I think we're going to be studying this for. We should be studying this for years. It's been a very interesting series of weeks since Corona hit the U.S. economy and ground everything to a grinding halt. All right, where is this guy? I think it's fascinating, and I think, it's terrible. It's something we're going to be wrestling with, I think, for a lot longer than I would like to. I'd like to think that it's just kind of an awkward couple of months and then we move on, but it's not, right? Like it's Vietnam bad in terms of KIA, or in terms of losses, and that's just a Corona that we know about. We probably half again that number of people that either didn't get a test or couldn't get a test, or we misattributed it to something, or they didn't get back to the States on time. And then probably more to suicide or substance abuse or something else from being stuck inside. I don't want to get too depressive, but it's a I say it's fascinating. The numbers part of it is fascinating. The economics of it and the effect that we're going to be feeling for, I think, a year is fascinating in a morbid kind of way. But I'm a data guy. When this all first started, I said, call your loved ones. And I didn't know, what everything was going to be like. And that was, I don't know, two or three episodes ago. And it almost feels like a lifetime ago. It wasn't, it was 2 weeks. The days simultaneously kind of run together, but then it also feels like a long time has gone by. I think a lot of that is that, when I work, like in a physical setting, I can just kind of go on autopilot, and then all of a sudden a week goes by, but I've been moving around, going places, doing stuff, meeting people. This will be interesting. Anyway, I guess I just haven't really talked about it, on the channel. And not every channel needs to be about coronavirus. This is a channel about a game, and, a bunch of my viewers watch this stuff right after it comes out, but a bunch of you come to it and discover me. You're going to discover me a year from now, when all of this stuff is, fingers crossed, kind of mostly blown over, and we're moving on to the next big thing, whatever that is. And, we're talking about the election which I'm not going to get into. Maybe we're talking. Maybe we're talking about. I don't know. I don't know. So whenever you find me, I'm coming to you from the tail end of what I would call the first phase of the coronavirus stuff. Still very, very poorly understood, I think. We still don't really know what all of it means. So, yeah. I'll reiterate what I said when this first all started. Call your loved ones. It's totally unrelated to corona, but my uncle had a stroke like 2 days ago, and I'm still kind of wrapping my head around that. Because shit came out of nowhere. He's a couple states away, etc. Like, I don't see him on a regular basis, but he was fine last I'd talked to him, and then stroke. It's not like other diseases where it sort of sneaks up on you, and this one just kind of poof. I guess I'm feeling the fragility of existence. All right, let's go see if Lee can't get that supply wagon right quick while I stop being so morose. Can I do this? I don't know. Let's find out. I've had them do it to me. I've had them recapture a supply wagon with a general, so there's no reason in my mind why a general shouldn't be able to capture some. Yeah, okay, cool. So let's put you there, turn you off, get the money. Let's see if we can't box in Brown here. I'll just kind of go until the game tells me I have no more time. Ooh, actually, let's back up a bit. Let's push in a bit. Okay. Maneuver warfare. Woo! I will say I'm doing a lot more maneuvering on this battle than I was expecting to. I was kind of expecting this to be kind of a stand and shoot affair, and it's turning into not that. Okay. Where can you be? Whoa. We didn't get him, did we? He's not. Oh, no. Okay. Just line of sight weirdness. Let's see if we can't capture Neil, actually. We got him nice and surrounded at this point. He's pretty heavily outnumbered. Comparison, it looks like Brown's gonna make me kill him. Got him boxed up though too. Most of the time I don't have a use for cavalry. And then this kind of thing happens and I'm over here like my kingdom for a horse. Let's just try. Let's see if we're at full condition. Very worst case scenario, we farm up some melee stat. which we need. Oh my word. He's just going to squirt through, isn't he? Are we going to trade deployment zones? It's certainly starting to look that way. Oh, bother. Okay, well, I'll take botched cleanup phases for 400, Alex. It's nothing explicitly wrong, you know, I'm not taking undue casualties, but it's just inefficient. That's all it really boils down to. All right. Getting lots of stamina stat, which is, again, something I wasn't really expecting to be picking up a lot of. Okay, that's more casualties than I probably need to take. Oh, now you're charging me. Okay, sure. Let's not do that. Give him the old Scooterino. Get around. Now he's in melee, probably. Maybe. There we go. Come on, this will do the trick, right? There you go. Nice. All right, let's just wrap up Neil here. Come on, dude. All right, go trap him in the corner. Go until one of two things happens. One, we get Neil, or two, the timer just runs out. Like, we're not that far off from tomorrow at this point, so yeah. Okay. Well, hey, that was the skirmish at Salem Church. At least, you know, only took 2 tries. It's not that bad, actually. And I gotta say, I think the MVP of the battle, annoyingly as it was, is those 2 brigades just chilling out way behind Union lines. And so 2000's rough, especially considering it's probably like really focused on a couple of units. Let's find out. Let me see, Confederate by loss. Brown doesn't count. Yeah, like, so it's that's not that bad, actually. It's just half the infantry, but that's not bad. 12 units, and I think of it, 8 was infantry anyway, so it's spread pretty evenly across. Looks like, oh, there's that. 2nd Tennessee Lightfoot was pretty rough. All right, let me tell you. So we got our set with 2-star. That's pretty cool. We minted 2 more generals. All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Picked up a whole fuckload of 61s, a shitload of money, some carbines I don't care about, and then picked up some of our own losses. Yeah, okay. Money, dudes, recruits. So that money dude thing that's from Chancellorsville. So we got 3 command points to play with here. I'm looking at probably finishing AO. What does that get me? Bigger supply wagon, whatever. 5 cores, 5 divisions, 6 units per. So 5, 6. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to field 5 cores. I don't need 10 in AO, but I do need that extra division. Because I think Chancellorsville would have gone differently if I'd had what was that? 12 more brigades. I would have had 12 more brigades at Chancellorsville. No, I mean the AI would have had some more dudes too. Okay, fine, whatever. But like, that's that much more coverage I would have had on the field. All right, what is advanced enemy info? Okay, like the extra spotting is never bad, right? Display flanked, we already get that. Display brigade and division officers. All right, cool. So it's just the extra spotting, I think, at that point. Logistics is certainly attractive, just to have more of certain guns in the store, but we're not really buying a crap load. Training could be attractive as well. What are my base stats? 22 firearms, just shy of 30 stam. All right, that's not bad. Each point would have what, 2 each, so that would take me to 2 per, so 26 firearm. All right. And a veteran cost, a debuff or a reduction to the cost of veterans. Nice round numbers, maybe. Spread it out. Recon 7 seems to be fine. You throw skirmishers around, it's okay. Econ medicine, both excellent stats. Training is nice for being able to get away with recruits. Let's take a look at the number of things in the store, because that will, I think, probably... Like, from a rifles perspective, I've got plenty of rifles. I don't care. I've got plenty of rifles on my own. I've got plenty in the store. So, logistics would be interesting, I suppose, but I don't know how much I need it. Yeah, we're not getting any more Sieges, Whitworths. I guess having more Blakeley's and Parrots wouldn't be terrible. There's an argument to be made. There's an argument for sure for more logistics. I don't know. I got plenty of cannons. Now I'm just replacing losses for the most part. I mean, we did just commit to making 12 more brigades, theoretically, but... Better stats is, I think, where I'm leaning. We got plenty of money. There's plenty of shit in the store. But I don't want to buy vets. Vets are significantly more expensive in the Rebel. Yeah, let's do that. Stats. It's not going to really do me any good right now, I don't think. But all right, what's in the rep store? Okay, 3,000 Enfields. It's not terrible, I guess. So I could be 5,000 more guns, which would help with the 12 new brigades. Sure, I guess. 3,000 Enfields is certainly nice. How many Enfields are in the store? At $26 a pop, they're certainly nice, but the Richmond's not that much worse. And it's a significant amount of money cheaper. And I could buy 10,000 rifles right there. Yeah, sure. I don't think I need to worry too much about buying Enfields, but 25 rep for 2,000 is kind of a raw deal. So what does 2,000 cost? 40 grand, give or take. 38 thou. Ah, I got money for days right now, man. I don't know. We have some weird thoughts to make. How's the army looking? I'll cut this off because we're already getting long. So this is the reserve corps. They didn't fight. We picked up a second star. Okay. You as well. Good job, boys. Maneuver proficiency, which means we give you accuracy and cover, or even more accuracy, but spotting and stealth. That's not really a debate. Okay. These guys all did fine. And after the medicine kicked in, even then the hits weren't too bad because these guys were down to what, 220, and now they're back up to 275. So sure, put you back at. We'll go until there.
Yes, sir.
We'll put you back to where you were. Yeah, that's not that bad. That's not that bad at all. Not that bad at all. Actually, I do want to pick up the regular wits as well. Those are good guns to have. And I've got fuck off money at this point. Okay. Yeah, the army all looks fine. I don't want to take you guys' time any more than this. So, coming up ahead of us, I do need to spend that rep points on something. We are heading to the Battle of Gettysburg. You know that's going to be a battle I do in a post audio. And then we're going to do a skirmish at Brandy Station before we do anything before Gettysburg. What is this? Oh, fuck. It's one of those battles where you start with somebody else's army. Terrible. What do I even have then? Cavalry. Decent infantry. All right. Sick. What? How are people still even using them? I mean, I have 20 of them in the battery. I suppose there's that. Who even still uses 6-pounders? Good Lord. Although 1,000 cavalry. Good Lord. Jesus. So the artillery's basically useless. Lots of cav. Poorly armed, but they're big and they're 2 stars. So, you know, that means we're going to get all kinds of random ass rolls on the perk tree. It's not going to make any sense. It's just going to be just horrible. This might be one of the ones I skip. We'll see. I'll give it a shot. I'll record it, and then we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, thanks for sticking this out. This is Fiasco. That was the skirmish at Salem Church, wrapping up the Battle of Chancellorsville, and we're heading right almost immediately into Gettysburg. So I'll see you cats on the field. It's Fiasco, signing out.